Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this is a presentation on UttaraBhadra Nakshatra. The nakshatras are the wonderful, powerful, uniquely valuable 27 lunar signs of Vedic astrology, and UttaraBhadra is number 26, next to the last. And they are such powerful declaration of the truths of your emotionally based identity and consciousness. The nakshatras declare us, warts and all. They pull no punches. But of course they point to how we can grow. This is so important. They point to how we can better the negative characteristics of our principal nakshatras, particularly where our sun, moon and ascendant are, but of course any of our planets. Okay, Nakshatra 26 UttaraBhadra, and I'm holding in my hands the 6-page course notes because I teach a wonderful course called www.nakshatrasadvancedcourse.com. You need to know, the minimal basics of Vedic astrology to be able to do it. And you study all of the 27 nakshatras, and when a planet of yours falls in a particular nakshatra, we go into depth studying that. When a planet of mine falls in a particular nakshatra, we study that. And if we encounter a nakshatra where neither of us have a planet, we look towards family members or celebrities. So the whole point is it's individual teaching, it's genuine, it's authentic. What you need to understand the nakshatras and planets of ours falling in them, you get. So here is Nakshatra 26 UttaraBhadra. So basically it spans Pisces, the Vedic sign of Pisces, using the sidereal zodiac from 3 degrees 20 to 16 degrees 40. And it's ruled by Saturn. And so when Saturn has his dasha or predictive period or sub-period, UttaraBhadra is particularly activated predictively for a predictable period. Now the Devata or ruling deity of UttaraBhadra is a very deep and ancient face of God, Ahir Budhyana, the snake that dwells in the deep waters. And the symbol, well, there are various, but particularly the back legs of a bier that supports a coffin, a deathbed. And that's about dying to our lower identity here and embracing our higher destiny, of course. And the power animal is the female cow, the cow. And so, of course, there are many other characteristics by which we analyse the nakshatras. And when I give a reading, I always refer to your nakshatras, as well as the Vedic signs, as well as your Western astrology and the crossover between Vedic and Western astrology. So, what are the key words one might be looking for if you have a prominent UttaraBhadra in your Vedic birth charts? Particularly, of course, if your sun, moon or ascendant is there. Well, essentially, it's about exiting the lower forms of this world through spiritual maturity. And they're often quite psychic and intuitive and attuned to dreams and dreamlike states. And usually their sort of start place in this world is obedience, beauty and stability, self-confining. They like to appear serene. But they can be difficult to pin down as they can vary according to their needs and surroundings. And their real motives are often hard to know. So they can be both flexible and fixed. And they can be calculating. and they can do things in a controlled and strategized way. But when things are going well and at their best, this is a strong character, can be benevolent, can have empathy and can make good counsellors. They're often cooling and compassionate. And they have great speaking and writing skills. And at their best, they're cheerful and generous, self-sacrificing and psychic with deep insights. They like to be reasonable and fair, and they like to be balanced, and people recognise this about them on first acquaintance. And they're usually good at handling money. But you see, you think about the nature of the cow. Overrunning is a problem, and they can be fickle. And they're quite attuned to utility, what's needed for the practical world. And this is a warning in a way. Part of them has a very fierce nature indeed. Normally they can control their anger and aggression. But when the strategy grips them, they can go in for poisonous, strategized opposition and destruction of another person. But of course, all states of consciousness are a potential opening to the divine, and so there's opening for the problematic characteristics of any nakshatra. Openings to wisdom, self-sacrifice, transformation of anger, water and coolness. And often they're very interested in astrology, numerology, meditation, divination, yoga, those sort of things. Now, because they're ruled by Saturn, there can be blocks and delays, even long delays for things coming good in their life. And the divine purpose of that is to teach them patience and effort. But their sensitivity, coupled with their sense of blocks and delays, means they very often at times seek solitude, seclusion, and at times can actually be very lazy. And I have found the big thing about them is they have a very difficult, neurotic, critical, fierce script for marriage. And I think I need to say that again. A very difficult, neurotic, critical, fierce script for marriage. So they're full of contradictions. And actually behind it all, there's a warrior energy, so they can go all out to destroy their enemies. And there can be psychic ability, as I said, a snake-like canny, a depth exploration of mysteries. They can work with Kundalini energies and all the meditation forms utilising those. And because they're ruled by Saturn, karmic debts have to be paid. And so it is so valuable to get a deep understanding of the Vedic birth chart for identification of the karmic debts. And I always combine Vedic astrology with Western astrology, which uses the tropical zodiac, and which, therefore, being sun sign based, depicts our egoic psychological self. So you get the life purpose astrology, the karmas, the destinies, and their effects so powerfully and accurately depicted by Vedic astrology, and you get the psychological self and its unfoldment by combining it with the Western astrology, which also brings in the utterly needed statement of our gods of change, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto, and Chiron, the existential wound, our wounded healer. In the healing of our wound we can heal others. So these are just a few buzzwords to do with UttaraBhadra. And so, for example, if you wanted to do my Nakshatras course, we would study what it means to have a particular planet in UttaraBhadra or one's ascendant in UttaraBhadra. There's quite a lot of detail about divine forces and how they unfold in an UttaraBhadra's life. there's a particular detail on the Devata, the ruling deity, the snake that dwells in the depths and represents wisdom. However, of course, snakes can be tempted to use that wisdom for dubious purposes. And the passivity of the darkness of the depths of the water in which the divine serpent dwells is the mysterious source from which all forms of creation have arisen. The serpent represents wisdom. The water snake needs to come to the surface to breathe. Therefore, the soul of UttaraBhadra can't remain in the water, spirituality, forever. It must, of course, also connect with the world. So, what else could I tell you? Well, the sign that UttaraBhadra is in is Pisces. And Pisces essentially is all about mystical connection, higher mystical creative intuition and creativity. And Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, the priest, the one who defines our philosophies and gives us expansion and needed purpose. This is the background that someone with planets in UttaraBhadra Nakshatra has. So I'm hoping you can pick up from this brief presentation the awesome declaration of Vedic astrology when it explains the meaning and the manifestation of a planet of yours that falls in any particular nakshatra. And in my nakshatras course we work through all the 27 nakshatras, as I said. That's in part 1. But in part 2 we use the wonderful analysis systems based on the nakshatras. And they are so powerful, for example, of saying issues in how you'll relate to someone, what your health will be, and predictive astrology. Vedic astrology has a magnificent astrology of relationships, and really the core of that is comparison of the nakshatras of the two people, particularly, of course, the nakshatra in which falls the moon of one and the moon of the other. So, I hope you found this interesting and useful. I'd be glad to do a reading if you wanted one. My readings website is www.starwheelastrology.com. My Nakshatra course website is www.nakshatrasadvancedcourse.com. Although my foundation Vedic astrology course, which really comes before that, is mastervedicastrology.com. So, from the far west of Ireland on the shores of the Atlantic, I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you.